I did everything I was supposed to do, and when it wasn't enough, I realized the problem wasn't me. So, if you're new here, I was furloughed and eventually laid off last year. And while you see a lot of travel content on the channel, I do like to talk about the life outside of travel. I do come from a 9 to 5 background. I'm looking to get back into the workforce, of course, but the reality is life kind of really, really changed last year. And so there's stuff I miss about my old life, and there's stuff that I don't miss about my old life, as is the case with a lot of things. So, some of the things that I do miss, which are probably pretty obvious, are my steady income, which was super nice to know that I had a paycheck and it was, gonna be there. I didn't have to worry so much about financials as I do now. So definitely miss that. I miss not having to pay for my healthcare benefits. Based in the United States, so healthcare is a little bit different here. I miss my retirement contributions. Like I miss all of the like intangible things basically. I also miss the routine, not perhaps as much as I maybe should, but you got a routine. You wake up, you go to work, you get off work, you do your hobbies, or sit on the couch and unwind, whatever you do. Life's a little bit different now. I think it's a little harder to motivate yourself, perhaps. Depends, really, because you get burnt out from a 9 to 5 corporate job and then you don't maybe have the motivation, but regardless, the routines definitely changed. I think ease in general is something I miss. Life's a lot easier when you know where your income's coming from and you have all these other things covered and you kind of got a set routine. Yeah, but all that stuff went flying out the window really fast last year, and it's been a new learning experience. All that to say, there's a ton of stuff I do not miss at all. I do not miss the burnout, especially. I think there were definitely times where I was truly, truly burned out. There were times where I was just straight up tired, didn't have brain cells left to use in the day. I used to joke that my last brain cell was out picketing on the picket line because I was just so tired. I didn't have a brain left. So many days I'd get off work and the motivation wasn't there to do anything. I would just sit on the couch and stare at the ceiling, stare at the wall. Um, really, really bad and kind of sad looking back at it now, but that was the reality. Other things I do not miss, I felt like I was conforming a lot to everything that was going on and conforming to the corporate lifestyle and work, to things that were expected of me that maybe weren't me or what I wanted for myself and my career. And that, gosh, there was a lot of that. I felt like I was getting pushed into corners of the business that I wasn't interested in, like sales. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a marketing person. Those are not my strong suits. I have no problem networking for projects and jobs, but when you're at a company that has a sales team, that's, in my opinion, for them to do the sales portion to get the business. It's like it's more for me to make the introduction. So there's a lot of that I felt like I was having to conform to something that just was not me, that I had made clear was not me. And it's hard. And then of course that goes into the pressure. It puts pressure on you that you don't want, you don't need. Just doing your own job is enough pressure enough. And being in the consulting world, you're always kind of working two jobs. You work with your client and supporting them, and then you also have to work your internal role. And there was a lot of pressure, and there like there is to get that job done, and then to add something that you just don't like. It doesn't help at all. I think at some point you get kind of angry at it all. You get maybe disenfranchised with it all, and um, yeah, it was not fun. I tried not to be angry at it, but at the end of the day, it's like there's just so much you can take and eventually you crack and the anger starts and it's not a healthy thing. And being in the corporate world overall, I think you feel very, very insignificant. You feel like another cog in the wheel that is going on, building somebody else's, everything, building their business, building their income and their lifestyle, when the reality is you're trying to keep a roof over your head, put food on your table, and get forward in your career. So those are tons of things that I don't miss. Obviously I'm trying to, get back into my role and what I was doing because I did really enjoy my client and the work I was working on with them, but I don't think those are things that come with every single company that is out there. If that was the case, we'd be in a whole lot worse place than we all are. But all that to say, I'm working on my own thing. It's been super fun. This gives me learning new things and just seeing where it goes. So I think, there's in this interim space, holding space for the complexity of life without trying to romanticize this whole entrepreneurial journey or this whole like, oh, new beginnings journey. It is very hard. It's a lot of moving parts and pieces. I've had things that have been in the works for months that finally are getting taken care of and finalized, and it feels really, really good, but it's a waiting process. It's so much and just moving parts and pieces and picking up the pieces that you want to pick up again, and how do you put those back together and be true to yourself. So it's definitely hard, and I think when you're jobless or you're in between roles and you're going after your dreams and trying to build something that's different, people think, oh well, look at all the freedom you have, look at the time freedom you have, and um, it's not totally true. There's a ton of work that goes on. There's obviously looking for a job. There's working on building the different channels, a YouTube channel, a blog, and trying to figure that out. There's the networking. There's the working with in my case, the state for unemployment, and then going back to school for project management. So there's just a ton of moving parts and pieces, and the freedom really is not as wonderful it is people think it is, and that's kind of the romanticizing part that I think people just think, oh, it's just must be so wonderful. It's not. I promise you, it's not. It does have its pluses, but it's not all roses and unicorns and all the all the things over here. And you really gotta let that go. You also have to let go of a lot of like the immediate satisfaction of knowing that you've done the work and you're gonna get paid and it's there. There's a lot of building in this process, and networking is not just the financial, and knowing that that will eventually pay off. You just don't know when. It's not like, oh, it's gonna pay off in 2 weeks. Not hopefully 2 weeks would be great, but it's not necessarily gonna work that way. So all that to be said, you just kind of have to honor the past, honor what you've gone through, process it, don't dwell on it. It doesn't move the needle forward, as they say. And but it's also just that struggle of trying not to return to it, not to fall back into those old patterns. And oh, that's hard. That can be so hard, especially when pieces, parts of that are out of your control. Especially like you interview with a company and it looks great, maybe on paper and who you've talked to, and then you get into it and it's like, maybe this isn't a great fit. And this, anyway, it's just it's ton of stuff. You got to do your homework, but it's all good. So yeah, that's a nutshell. That's kind of what I miss about my whole life, what I don't. Very much enjoying new things, like I said, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to keep doing this channel. I love talking about travel, but again, I think it's so important to talk about the life outside of travel, the life that fuels and funds the travel. So all that to be said, excited to have you here. Hang out in this corner of the internet with me. I'm looking forward to continuing to build it, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.